Hi guys. Today we are going to go ahead and finish up what we did last week, which was reviewing everything that we know about fractions, adding, adding fractions, subtracting fractions, and multiplying fractions. So today we're going to work together in our math workbooks on page 104. So you're going to have to go grab your math workbook right now and a pencil and maybe even your math notebook in case you need some extra room for your writing. So I'm going to let you go get those things if you haven't already. And we're going to be on page 104. So while I'm going to go ahead and get my worksheet ready while you're doing that, I'm going to remind you that when we were doing adding and subtracting fractions last week, we also had to remember that we needed to look at the denominator. It was super important to see if we needed a common denominator at all. So on page 104, it tells us that we're going to have some mixed practice. We're going to find the value of the expression. When possible, our expression, we might need to put it in a whole number or a mixed number. So as you see for numbers 21 and 20, pardon me, 22, 23, 24, and 25, I'm noticing that some are multiplication, some are subtraction, some are addition, and so forth. So we need to make sure that we're being very careful. So, oh boy, that's what happens. The lights turn out, remember, when you guys are not here. So we just turn those back on and we are ready to go. And I hope I gave you enough time now to be on page 104. So looking at our first equation, it says multiply. So I'm asking myself, maybe you love simplifying within and you're making some connections. I'm noticing that there are no connections to be made. So for multiplying, I'm just going to multiply across. 4 times 3 is 5 times 7 is nice chat. So now I'm asking myself, is this answer already simplified? And I am noticing that there isn't a number that 12 and 35 both share. So I am moving on. Number 23, this time I'm using the exact same fraction names, I notice, but I'm subtracting. So I'm noticing that 5 and 7 do not have the same denominator. When I subtract, I need to make sure they have the same denominator. So I'm asking myself, what is a multiple that 5 and 7 both share? So when I count by 5s and when I count by 7s, what do I hear? What do you hear? I hear 35. I'm hoping that you hear 35 as well. And remember, this is a subtraction problem. So what did I do to the 5 to make it a 35? Good, I multiplied it by 7. Whatever I do to the bottom, remember that I do to the top. 4 times 7 is 28. What did I do to the 7 to make it a 35? I multiplied by 5. So whatever I do to the bottom, I do to the top. 3 times 5 is 15. Now, 28 35ths, subtract 15 35ths. So 28, maybe you're using the side of your paper to go ahead and subtract. 8 take away 5 is 3. 2 take away 1 is 13. So my numerator is 13. And those denominators, you got it, stay the same. So I'm asking myself again, is there a number that 13 and 35 share? Is this already simplified? And it is simplified. So there is my final answer. So this was subtraction and I got 13 35ths. And this was multiplication and I got an answer smaller. This is going to lead us into tomorrow's lesson. I'm going to keep that in mind if I see something about why my answer be smaller actually when I multiply compared to when I subtract. I'm going to go ahead and look at number 24. 24 is an addition problem. I'm also noticing it has a mixed number. What do I need to do before I go ahead and add? Some of you might be saying, wow, I noticed that the denominators are not the same. Some of you might be saying, this is a mixed number and we need to change it to an improper fraction. I know that we've been learning so much about fractions, and sometimes we get things confused what we do from adding to subtracting to multiplying, especially when we have mixed numbers. So again, when I see this mixed number, the first thing I need to do is go ahead and change it into an improper fraction. You already know how to do that. So I'm going to go ahead and put my multiplication sign and my addition sign. 2 times 1 is 2. 2 plus 1 is 3. And that denominator, remember, stays the same. I'm going to go ahead and bring over the 2/3. And here is my new problem. Now you're going to notice that the 2 and the 3 are not the same denominator. So when I count by 2s and when I count by 3s, what is that first lowest common denominator that you hear? Great, 6s. What did I do to the 2 to get it a 6? 2 times 3 is 6. Whatever I do to the bottom, I do to the top. 3 times 3 is 9. What did I do to the 3 to make it a 6? I multiplied by 2. I do the same thing for my numerator. 2 times 2 is 4. And now, 9 plus 4 is 13, 6. Do you like that answer? I'm hoping that you say no, because this is an improper fraction. We never keep it as an improper fraction unless the directions tell us so. So how many times does 6 go into 13? I probably am doing that in my head. 6 can go into 13 2 times with 1 left over, and the denominator stays the same. So my answer is 2 and 1/6. I'm over here for number 25, I'm noticing a multiplication sign. I'm also noticing a mixed number. Just like for number 24, I need to turn that mixed number into an improper fraction. That's what we were practicing last week. Go ahead and put your multiplication sign and your addition sign in. 2 times 1 is 2. 2 plus 1 is 3. I'm going to move it over here so it's not so mumbo jumbled. And I have a 2. I'm going to go ahead and move the 2/3 over here for my new problem. Now this is multiplying, so we know that we multiply the numerators, we multiply the denominators. If you want and you see those connections, which I do, you may do that. If you don't like that way of simplifying and seeing connections, you can just multiply across. 3 times 2 is, 2 times 3 is, and we know that 6 over 6 equals 1 whole. So when I multiplied, I got a 1. When I added the same numbers, I got 2 and 1/6. Again, I'm going to keep this in mind for tomorrow's lesson. We're going to make some predictions and connections tomorrow. We are moving on to the story problems. I'm going to get you started, and then you're going to finish these on your own along with your other assignment today. So you're going to write an equation. Remember that these are equations. We also say that's like showing your work, right? Then we're going to solve. Again, you might get a whole number, you might get a mixed number. So let's read these together. Daniel puts some wheat flour into an empty bowl. So I'm visualizing this. Then he adds 2/3 cup of rye flour to make a total of 2 and 5/12 cups of flour. How much wheat flour is in the bowl? So I'm noticing it told me that his total is 2 and 5/12 cups of flour. It also said that he had some wheat flour. I'm just going to use X. I don't know how much wheat flour he put in. And then it says that he added some rye flour. How much rye flour? 2/3. My job is to find out how much wheat flour. So here is my number sentence. That's my expression that they told me to write. Now I need to go ahead and solve. So I know that I can subtract these to get this answer. You're going to go ahead and do the work here and figure out what X is for me. Manuela has a bag containing 5 1/3 cups of sugar. She uses 1/8 of the sugar in the recipe. Okay. So it doesn't say she uses 1/8 cup of sugar. She uses of this sugar in the recipe. How much sugar does she use? So I am hoping that you notice the of. Remember that we know that of means multiplication. Here are my two numbers from this story problem that I'm going to see how much sugar does she use and make sure I'm putting a label. You're going to finish that up. Astasia has a bag that contains 1 1/4 cups of rice. She uses 2/3 cup. So the bag has this much. She used this much. How much is left in the bag? What kind of story problem is this? I hope you said subtraction. So she had 1 1/4 cup. She used 2/3. And you're going to be very careful and solve this just like how we talked about up at the front of how much rice is left. Make sure you include your label. And the last question, you will not be doing check for your understanding. Seth's route to school is 1 3/10 miles long. So that's how long it takes him to get to school, 1 3/10 miles. He walked 4/5 miles so far. So he already did that. How much further does he have to go? Again, this story problem gave us the total. We know to get to school, the route that he takes is 1 3/10. We know that he already went this far. 4/5 plus what? Maybe you decide that X could be miles because we don't know how many miles he still has left. So again, you're going to take these two numbers and subtract them so you can find out what that X is. Make sure you're putting a label. Okay. So you're going to finish that up along with the other assignment that is on Google Classroom for today's math assignment. Remember to jump on Zoom if you have any questions whatsoever with our mixed practice. So today, remember, we're going to add, subtract, and multiply fractions. And then there will be a quick little exit ticket that you will finish after you did page 104. Good luck, my friends.